Oh, you can. Cool. My Discord is slow today. It's like freezing. Anyone else's Discord slow? Like lagging a lot. All right, usual Monday stream. Just quickly hop on, give my thoughts, take a look at some coins, sort of set a rough outlook for the week, and decide discuss what sort of happened over the weekend, what I might have missed. I personally didn't check charts much at the weekend. I had some friends visiting, so was chilling. But obviously we did get a move on BTC. Now towards 74k, which I'm happy about, because this is the main region I'm looking at shorting now for BTC. A very decisive week ahead of us, and depending on how we react into 74 to 76, we'll probably decide if we, are basically going to go to 90 or even 60. So it's a very decisive week, and the price action this week is going to really depend and lay out the next few weeks. Had some nice sells on Friday, which I didn't actually take, but since those 5% moved down. Obviously we had a sell signal this morning, but this is quite fresh, and personally I don't execute on these early week sell signals, especially on the weekly view up. The first 12 hours I tend to ignore any signals, so an hour from now I will start looking at trading any sell signals that pop up on the weekly, but for now this is essentially invalid, basically because there's not enough historical data to work with. Like these are my perfect sell signals, because what you have is a week, 5 days of trading where price didn't mitigate this 2.5 to 3 standard deviation at all. So it's like, we were trending and we were trading in balance. We were trading at the time in the prior weekly value, so we were trading in balance. And then you can see as soon as we got that break from balance, right, last week, we get that aggressive move from the prior weekly value, right, value very high. So this is a signal that we're potentially moving out of value, out of fair value. Along with that, I get some sell signals coming in, which we extend into the weekly 2.5 to 3 standard deviation. So that's a sign that we're getting quite an aggressive move intra-week as well. And you can see how we essentially come back within value again, back towards the developing weekly view up. So overall, that was a really good sell signal. I was a little bit late to enter. By the time I sort of noticed the sell signals, I can't remember what I was doing on Friday, but it kind of already sold off and I missed the entry. But really good. These are the best like buy and sell signals you can get, is when so for example here you can see we're sort of bouncing and we keep getting buy signals, and they kind of become less valid. Whereas this week you can see there was no mitigation, and then all of a sudden we started to get the sell signals. So these are great to take. But that wasn't the main area I was looking at shorting. The main area I'm looking at shorting is this developing quarterly VWAP and also the developing yearly VWAP. Obviously these are both the same right now, given we are in Q1. But yeah, to be honest, kind of misplayed this move, on Monday. Last week I wanted a move into 65k to get long for a target of 74, and it just sort of front ran that and went up. So was sidelined majority of this move, but it's part of trading. You can't catch everything. I was looking for a move down here last week into 65k, but I didn't get it. So now we're in the main place for shorts. If we are going to reject and if we are going to shoot for the lows, I'm pretty sure it's going to come from that region. We have seen a nice move back inside this developing quarterly value, right? You can see how this developing quarterly, here we go, I've got it marked on this chart. You can see how the developing quarterly and yearly value area low was essentially a really strong place for BTC time and time again. And then, we started to see this move, right? And then what you have here is a good sign of acceptance, right? Where you have this gap, right? You have this gap, and then we can also refer to this as like space, right? So we get space away from value, and often space equals like acceptance, right? So when you're looking for like true acceptance relative to that value and time frame, like you're looking for space. So this was a good sign. I posted about this a couple weeks ago, saying that, you know, there's a good sign that we were holding back inside the developing quarterly value, and there's likely going to be a move towards the view up, right? That's kind of how values work, right? You got the view up, which is essentially, let's just say 0.5. This is your medium, or let's say this is 0, right? This is your medium. 1, 1. Like often when you accept back inside this value, it's going to trade back towards the medium, right? So in this sense, back inside the value, we're going to trade towards the view up, right? The volume weighted average price. So this is the main area now, and an important place, because obviously we haven't tested this quarterly and yearly view up since way back before we broke down in January. This is kind of my plan, right? This was mapped out to be my plan. Hi Bav, guys, Morrissey. This has been my plan, essentially, would be that we would break down, get the fake breakdown, which we kind of did, but not as much as I'd like. We sort of got it on Monday last week, but I wanted it a bit lower. We'd break down into a sweep of 74 to 76, and, you know, give this eventual big accumulation area into 60 to 50. And I mean, obviously, I'm sidelined in terms of spot. Been very vocal that I do believe that this is going to be the bottom, and I'm very vocal that I believe that we can make a new all-time high by November on BTC. So I'm looking to get a position for that reason, and basically I want to buy anything under 60k. So right now we haven't had that opportunity, and I think there's a good chance that as long as we remain capped below 76k, we can trade into 60k, even as low as 53k as of right now, which basically is the best place for low risk buying as of right now, is 53k. So this is basically the plan here, right? I want to get short this week into 74 to 76k, and obviously there's a good chance that, you know, if we do accept above this range high, this is just going to gap up, right? This is going to gap up from 71 to 81, basically because of how low volume this is, right? Super low volume in here. So any like strong signs of acceptance, any spot bid that starts to come in this week, like let's say Sailor starts buying, like this is just going to gap up to 81. So I will only short on a good trigger into 74 to 76k. If I get a good sell signal coming in, you know, we've got the monthly 2.5 to 3 standard deviation, the weekly 2.5 to 3 standard deviation, obviously the quarterly and yearly view up. So all in all, a great place to short. First target would be 71k, and the dynamic based on the value error high of some developing weekly, monthly view ups. But overall, if we do deviate back below 71.4, there's a good chance we're going to shoot out towards 63 and maybe even as low, right? Because you can't ignore the fact we're essentially doing the same thing right now, right? Bear flag, right? Bear flag, breakdown, bear flag, breakdown, bear flag, breakdown, bear flag, yet again, right? So if we can invalidate the bear flag, like that's a very good sign. We're going to probably go to 87k. But for now, it makes sense that we look for shorts and not get trapped. Like a few things are setting up for shorts. Sorry to tell you, but like Tau, I'm looking at a short on Tau this week. I know people are very fond of Tau at the moment, but I like it for a short into 300s. 300 to 350, it looks like a great place for a Tau short. So I've got my eye on that. Yeah, like these moves, you know, it's easy to get trapped into these moves. Like obviously when things are down so much, it's easy to fall into a trap of like trying to chase the breakouts. But I think it's, you know, given we are in a much higher time frame downtrend, for me, I only really start becoming interested in chasing altcoins once we get above like this 81 to 87k region. like in terms of like spot alts, right? If we do accept above 71, 74, I will be interested in like trading for longs, like leverage longs here, lev longs here on alts. But until we get like a good flip of 81, 87k, I don't have any interest in buying spot on alts. That's key. Also looking to short Tau. So yeah, I think it's a very decisive week. And I think it's going to be a good week for trading, to be honest. A lot of opportunity. If you've been following me, you know this has been my main short area for a while now. And we're finally moving into it, which is great because I thought we were going to front run it last week, but we're bouncing back. But yeah, like if anything, these bounces, like look at Farcoin up 14% today. I mean, this is looking okay, to be fair. Like we're trading back inside the yearly and quarterly value area low. But I could still see a world where this ends up being bait, right? Like traps into here, gets the deviation, and then ends up legging down to like lows, right? So I'm still a bit cautious on a lot of these altcoin moves. I actually don't mind if I'm going for a short up here. Excuse me. I don't mind it for a short, but I don't really want to short anything until BTC is trading into 74 to 76k. Just yet. I don't want to short too early. That is like obviously the hardest thing is timing it and not getting like blown out of your shorts. Hype short soon, potentially into 40. I wanted to long 36 to 35 last week, but unfortunately just got a front run. But this, as we were discussing on Friday's stream, this is going to trade to 40, and from there I'll look at for a short on hype. But Bitcoin looking springy. Yeah, I mean, I've always been very vocal on the fact that I think meme coins moving are a good sign of like risk conditions, right? Something like Doge, which I was talking with H about last week. If Doge like can flip 0.1 and you know we get this sort of meme line breakout on it, it can be a good sign. Like if we get this sort of breakout on Doge this week and it flips 0.1 and it starts to break out, this can be a very good sign for like risk on conditions. Like often I find that meme coins are these like the first movers in like risk on altcoin conditions. So especially if you get the likes of like Doge and Farcoin moving, like, do you know what I mean? They're some of the main coins in the market right now when it comes to like well-known like altcoins, really. And to think that they've, you know, they're down so much, like they've got potential, but you just got to look at these like micro moves on Farcoin, right? Like legs down, you know, we get those bounces, 35% bounce, you know, 43% bounce, 43% bounce, like 150%, 80%. Like let's say this starts to bounce like 100 to 150%, like it's easy to get trapped into these moves, but evidently like I think Farcoin probably looks good to short back down at some point. And like I said, until we get that big flip on BTC, I think that any move up on altcoins will still be good shorts, but it's obviously it's much easier said than done. You gotta time them. You don't want to get blown out into these shorts. So yeah, in terms of like alts, the only things I really got my eye on this week is a Doge breakout above 0.1. Farcoin, I don't actually mind Farcoin for a short here, to be fair, but it's kind of hard to time when I think BTC looks good for a move into 76. But yeah, this is what I want to discuss as well. Obviously, Are you long Fuckcoin, Dave? I don't mind it for a short here, but could definitely pop a bit higher. I'm not going to short it yet with BTC where it is. I think it could definitely bounce up a bit, Fuckcoin, for rolling. But yeah, this you know, I discussed this a lot when I was in talent, so I don't know if many people like transition to following me since I moved to the academy now. But this is a really strong like local top and intraday top relative to the time frame. Often if you see this, basically this is ETH, right? And this is BTC. When you see like ETH start to make higher highs, right? BTC make lower highs. This is a really good sign for when we could be getting to like the top of an exhaustion of a move. And often when you see this, it leads to intraday tops, local tops. Like you can see 2% downside from that. When it's on the 4 hour, often you'll find that it leads to big like range local tops. Time and time again. Not every time, like you won't see it always form. But let's find your example. I actually think I'll top back in, where is it? Here, like for example, we can see here, we get this big move up, ETH makes a high, BTC makes a lower high. You can see our price breaks down, local tops, right? So I will also short ETH, like if we get something like that. Like let's say this week we get the move into 74, 76k, BTC starts to do, you know, let's say like a lower high like this. Meanwhile, ETH is making a high. Like this is a really good sign to start shorting ETH, because ETH will probably just like full retrace and run for all of these lows, right? I love like these parabolas on ETH, actually, but we got one forming again. It's like really nice bear market PA. Like yeah, again, like Paul just said, like into quarterly VWAP seems like a great place to take a short. Right now it's super aggressive trend. That's the only downside. Like we can see ETH is trading above the developing monthly and quarterly. Sorry, the developing monthly 2.5 to 3 standard deviation into the quarterly VWAP. So I would, you know, I'd be willing to short this soon, but right now this is super aggressive, and I'm gonna wait for BTC to pop higher. But like the way ETH is now rallying, like this is not. There's never been a time recently where ETH strength leads to like risk on conditions and like altcoin rotation. It's been a while since that's happened. If anything, when I see ETH rallying now, it makes me more cautious than anything. So, but I'm open to scenario. Right now, this is my main plan, that this move up here leads to a breakdown. But I'm open to the fact that, of course, if BTC starts to flip 76k, this is going to gap up fast to 87, and in that case, I'll have to be quick on my feet to try and chase some leverage long positions on alts. But for now, very cautious. But yeah, let me show you this breakdown PA on ETH. I mean, it's like parabola, and also you got like it's like parabola, but it's also like a bear flag, right? Similar to BTC, but same back here, right? Very similar. Back here as well. Right. It's very common breakdown PA from ETH, and I traded it in the last bear market a lot. Just got to get a trigger for it. Last bear market, I would trade like break of structures to get into an entry like this, but with my new system and like VWAPs and Z score, I can often find the tops a lot easier rather than waiting for like confirmation. So yeah, let's see. It's too early to say, you know, whether this is a true breakout or not. We need to see how this week unfolds, but I got my signs that work for us. Let's see where would be a good ETH short. 300s probably is as of right now a pretty good spot for ETH, like the developing yearly, and we'll leave you up. 2298, yeah, it's good. But like we have more than enough time here to break down like into 60k again, and then like leg up to like fresh all-time high, but before November. Like it's more than possible, especially like obviously if we've bounced on basically like war, right? Like bombs, missiles being flown. So you got to think about the positive outcome if everything just stops, right? They get to an agreement, they get to like a truce or whatever, like do we have much of a weekend gap from ETH and BTC? Like where, let's have a look at BTCs. I have two of the same charts. We have a pretty large weekend gap by the looks of things. So that gives us a nice target as well if we get a short this week. Friday close. Yep. So yeah, 3%, almost 2.3% weekend gap. So that offers quite a nice target this week. If we get like a push into 74 to 76, we can look at shorting down into the Friday close. Equally, if we get a move down here, we can look to long into the Friday close for a bounce as well. That can obviously be a nice trade, but keep an eye on this 70, 78, 80, 78, 7900 region this week. What's this, Dave? Bitcoin is back to where it was 2 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, we just full retraced the Trump pump. Yeah, should be a pretty good week, I think. Should be a good week. Okay. Our weekly values here. Let's set some alerts up here, to be honest. Babish asked earlier, I forgot. Will you give a little intro on IDM inducement? That's like SMC, isn't it? That's like I can't actually remember what it is. It's something to do with liquidity, like this. So like this would be, I think this would be inducement. And you'd have like, I can't really remember, bro. Sorry. I think it's when you have like equal highs left essentially, or equal lows, and then later down the line, we take that liquidity. Can't really remember. Sorry. All right, let's see what else. Let's have a look. Long Trump last week, I got stopped at the bottom. It's fucking annoying. It wicked me out. Long to like here, wicked me out down here, and then bounced. Yeah, like almost 15%. That was annoying. River short, got a nice short on River. Just ended up bouncing back. River's probably going to trade to 35 plus again. Yeah. I mean, potentially we could look at shorting into 27.5 this week for like an intraday short, like just for like a 20% move roughly. But overall, like it starts to flip 27. This is gonna just leg up again. Super scammy coin. Yeah, banana last week I was looking for a short into 0.084, but like you can just see it broke through that area with basically no sign of slowing up, so we didn't execute on that. Yeah, grass 0.43. I mean, this gave a good sell signal over the weekend, but 0.43 still looks good for a grass short. Reset some alerts. Clearly they got triggered. XPL still looks good for a short into 125 as well. How are memes doing if Farcoin's moving up? Yeah, it's kind of rejecting here from this prior monthly VWAP. I don't have like a sell signal on it, so I can't really execute it. And also, like I was saying, BTC's need BTC a bit higher to short 40, so. Yeah, I mean, memes are barely up. Pepe and Fart are the only ones up right now. Plus 12% on the day. Now this week you could potentially long into 260 for a bounce. Actually, yeah, that looks quite nice. If you could get a drop into 260 this week on Tau, I would play a trade towards 320 to 350. That looks really nice. I'm gonna set some alerts for it. For a bounce 260 on Tau this week. Just for a bounce into 320, what would that be like? Yeah, like a 22 plus 20% plus move. Yeah, you see how like inefficient these sell signals are? I don't really trade these when these are printing as frequently as they are here, unless there's like a move into a seriously strong value. But like right now, the next area, like, can you see that we haven't mitigated and traded into this monthly and quarterly 2.5 to 3 standard deviation? So that gives me more reason to look for a short up here, because it'll be quite overextended. But this is a super strong trend to try and short right now. Need it much higher. Daily Z score is quite high right now, which is nice. You'd probably want to sweep above these highs. You guys only chart requests? We can do chart requests for like 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll call it a stream. Always Mondays. I don't stream for too long on Mondays. Just hop on, give my thoughts, and need to wait for some PA to develop. But yeah, ETH looking a lot more aggressive than BTC right now. No high yet though. Yeah, to be fair, I haven't looked at gold. Let's look. It's kind of doing what I wanted it to do, really. I wanted to see this right shoulder into 5200s. You could see a bounce this week on it into the quarterly VWAP around 4900 is probably a good place for a bounce on gold. But yeah, this was essentially what I was looking for. Was this bounce into 5200s for like a right shoulder almost, and then go into some sort of chop and range. Meanwhile, we can get that sort of like from BTC. Obviously, BTC gold looking great. Spoke about this a lot. Yeah, bottoming on the 14th month again. Like, as of right now, we closed the month of Feb, and obviously in March we've started bouncing, right? Which is, as of right now, on average, all gold, Bitcoin against gold bear markets have lasted 14 months or less, right? In this occasion, we've lasted the same as our bear market back in 2013 to 2015. So potential that the Bitcoin gold bottom is in here as we mark that 14th month at the end of February. And then also, like, if you look at the Z score on this, it's got super overextended. Actually went to minus 2.5, and the most oversold the Bitcoin gold chart has been in all of its 13, 14 years, whatever. Pretty wild. Ideally, yeah. I mean, you could probably get a bouncing on gold into 4900 this week, but ideally this just ranges between sort of 5200s and 4700s over the next few months now. And like, logically get wouldn't say a rotation, but more interest into Bitcoin, obviously, like silver as well, doing the same sort of thing with this this shoulder, this right shoulder right now. All right, if we got no more chart requests, I'll quickly discuss my thoughts again and then wrap it up. So 74 to 76k, that's the main region this week to look for a short. I believe that this push into 74 to 76, if we get a very nice trap into here, could be the sort of momentum we need to push lower into 60k and below, where I'm looking to accumulate a BTC spot with a target of new all-time high later this year. You know, when we look at the PA from BTC, you know, we're doing this classic bear market, bear flag PA, a very common price action in bear markets where we get, or just downtrends, right? Where you get like a flag and then you break down, you get a flag and then you break down, right? And what you have is you have this trap, right? Where it's like traps into the high and it breaks down, right? Traps into the high, breaks down, traps into the high, breaks down, right? Same sort of thing. Potentially trap into the high, break down, right? So that's kind of the main plan right now. If we do manage to flip 76k on BTC, you know, I'm very open to the fact that this will gap up very fast, especially if we get a good spot bid. This will gap up fast, in which case I'll start to chase leverage longs on things. And then above 87, 88k, that's where we start to like buy spot. You know, and if we start to flip here, I'd obviously consider the fact that this was probably the low and we're not going to get a move back down to sub 60k anytime soon. So I would be forced to chase right up here. But for now, main region we're looking at shorting is here for a move back down intra-week. Tau long 260 looks good for a Tau long, and anything above 320 for a short. Filecoin, I don't mind this for a short if BTC gets a little push up a little bit. BTC could try a long this week into 7,800 if we get a sweep down there. That looks good for a bounce, but other than that, it's Monday, so just chilling. Really, let the PA unfold. Watch for the ETH structure into the highs and then BTC structure. Right, if we start to get like bit of a difference here in the structure, that's a really good sign that we're gonna local top. Okay, I'll be live again with JD tomorrow, and I'll get the stream uploaded. Yeah, let's have a good week. See you guys. Bye bye.